Hey all. Alright, so this is Gimbal version 7, and this really should be the final version of the gimbal. So there it is. It's all printed in black. So the big thing you can see is that I've replaced the servos with brushless gimbal motors. That's why this is going to be the last version, because I've gone all out on this one. The servos just weren't cutting it. They were too slow. The pitch servo was alright, but the roll servo, I would have needed to spend a lot of money on a really expensive ultra fast servo to make it worthwhile. It just wasn't keeping up. So, brushless gimbal motors. I've also gone with a brushless gimbal controller, which is this monster back here. It's 50 centimeter by 50 centimeter square, so it's rather quite large. So I've been able to actually mount that right onto the back of the main mount. It's right there. I've got a little cover on it. So the motor has come out of here. This wire over here is the allows me to control the pitch of it from the flight controller, and then the IMU itself, that's the motion control unit that detects its angle, is actually mounted right inside here. You can kind of, maybe you can even see the light that's turned on, but it's actually mounted right inside the actual carriage, which is really good. So if we look at this, we can see that it's got excellent action. It's very fast. It's definitely keeping up. I wasn't able to do that with the servo. Even this speed right here, the servo wasn't able to keep up with. So it's really gorgeous. The whole mount has been redesigned. It is perfectly balanced, so it does in fact come backwards and then down, so that the center of gravity for the entire mount is in fact right underneath the center of this. That gives optimal balance point for the blue 150 gram dampers that I've got in there. I'm using black. The bolts, nuts, and washers are also 3D printed. Everything is perfectly balanced. If I were to actually power this off, I could set this at any angle and it'll just sit there. So the roll is perfectly balanced, the pitch is perfectly balanced. That gives the best opportunity for the gimbal motors to work as well as they can. Just give me a second, I'm going to put this down for a moment. Just get my controller, my transmitter here. So I'm still using the same channel 6 that I was using before, but I've actually modified it so it works a little differently now. So watch this. So all the way up, and it's pointing straight forward, and all the way down points to 90 degrees straight down. Now watch this. This is gorgeous. I hope I'm right in frame there. Look at that action. Isn't that gorgeous? It's smooth, it's slow, it is just beautiful. Oops. Okay, that's... Alright, so I still got a bit of tuning to do apparently. That's annoying. This thing has been a monster to tune. Yeah, got a bit of tuning to do there. It has been an absolute monster to try and tune properly. And it wasn't making that sound before, so I've got to tune it just a bit more, take a little bit more off of the P value, I think. In order to accommodate the new mount, I've had to add leg extensions to it. As you can see, these are 3D printed leg extensions. If we come in close, hopefully you can see that. So they're at 25-degree angles, so they point straight up and down. Perfectly formed for the carbon fiber leg to fit in. There's a slot inside here, so the leg fits in 2 millimeters to give it a good bite. These backers, I don't know if you can see that, if I'm at the right angle. You can see it looks like it's solid. They've actually got extrusions to fit perfectly into the grooves here. They're perfectly shaped so that they fit in really tight and they won't move. And then there's a small 2 millimeter screw that goes through this side. Screws right into these holes. They're 8 millimeters long, which is the perfect length, so it's nice and flat on top. Gives me nice leg extensions for everything to fit properly. The last big change is that I'm running the whole gimbal system off of a separate battery pack. This is a 3S 1800 milliamp hour battery pack. I actually normally use these on my MHQ2 3D printed quadcopter, but they're going to work just fine here. So yes, overall, there is additional weight, but I'm hoping to get back some of the flight time that I had lost. Using the servos, especially when I added the giant servo for the roll. I added that big servo, heavy servo, fast, but not fast enough. Huge torque, it was like 96 inches. That thing sucked up so much battery power, I went from 14 minutes of flight time down to 9 minutes of flight time. So using the extra battery pack, I'll get back I'm hoping to get back some flight time. The extra weight is of course going to affect it, but this thing had a lot of power anyways. Like hovering at about 40% maximum was great. I never flew this thing above 60% power ever, so I think I'm going to be doing okay with it. But I do have to tune that a little bit more. So the gimbal controller has been a real bear to tune. It is in fact Arduino based. It's based on the Arduino Pro Mini. USB connector right there. There are extra pins or holes where I can add more pins and do extra stuff if I want to do all sorts of weird stuff with. So that is the new gimbal. Look at that, just so smooth. See, it gets a little twitchy at the far angle, but that's okay because I don't ever expect to fly at that angle. If this ever does end up at that angle, it's crashing, so whatever. But a little more tuning, I could fix that. So, like I said, it's been a real bear to tune. But it's going to be absolutely gorgeous gimbal to work with, and it's going to solve all of my problems. And I'm really looking forward to getting some great video with it. I'm going to be adding a second strap. I'm going to make this one longer and just add a second strap for the battery. I offset it like this just to try and get a little bit of extra weight in the back so I don't have to push the whole battery pack back. But yeah, so everything is really good now. Look at that, eh? Isn't that just gorgeous? Beautiful. Alright, so that's gimbal version 7, and it should be the final version of my gimbal build. Hopefully tomorrow the weather cooperates and I actually get out and get to do some flying with it and make sure it's A-OK. This is a Fat Shark 700 CCD camera. It is so smooth. Okay, so thanks for watching. Expect some much better videos soon.